Welcome to another episode of Trends and Ideas. I'm your host, Isabel Sender, and our guest today is S&P Capital IQ equity analyst Jim Corridor, who came by to explain S&P Capital IQ's position on the industrial sector, which S&P Capital IQ thinks will outperform the benchmarks again this year. Thanks very much for joining us, Jim.
Thanks, Isabel. Pleasure to be here.
Thank you. Well, tell us a little bit about what S&P Capital IQ does see as the main catalyst for the industrial sector this year.
Sure. We think the U.S. economy is starting to accelerate. Obviously, we did hit a soft patch in January. We think that's related more to weather and maybe a little bit of softening throughout the world that hit the U.S. as well. But we think that will fix itself as we move through the rest of the year. We think industrial production is starting to move along. The Architectural Billings Index, all the different indicators that we look towards are strengthening and should continue to do so. Also, we think that Europe is recovering, and although China has slowed, it's still leading the world in terms of its economic growth. So we expect that to be a contributor as well.
Understood. So those sound very positive. Talk to us a little bit about the risks you might be seeing right now.
Well, certainly, all our expectations take into account forecasts of growth for the U.S. economy, for Europe, for China, for the rest of Asia. And to the extent that that doesn't happen, obviously that's a risk that would impact not only the overall economies, but the individual stocks in the industrial sector.
That's interesting. Well, in light of this outlook, does S&P Capital IQ have a recommendation that fits the bill?
Sure. I'd like to highlight the ETF, the Industrial Select Sector SPDR, which is symbol XLI. It's got about $9 billion in total assets. And of that, 94% is either mega cap or large cap stocks. So this ETF is invested in some of the largest companies in the world that we think are going to benefit the most from the trends that we see.
I see. Well, that's very interesting, and we thank you very much for joining us today. And we encourage all of our subscribers to read more of Jim's views on the outlook for industrials and related ETFs in a Trends and Ideas article on MarketScope.com. It's called Industrials Poised to Outperform Again. Thanks for watching or listening. I'm Isabel Sender for S&P Capital IQ.